Jurassic World movie doesn't even open until 2018, but if you want to see dinosaurs in the desert, look no further than the Phoenix Zoo. In fact, it was a zoo visit that inspired a young boy in England back in the 1920s to name his stuffed animal Winnie, as in Winnie the Pooh. The book became a phenomenon. Coming up on Real Travels, we'll head to London to talk to the young actor who earned the big part of Christopher Robin in a film about the toll the book's success had, although it sounds like things are going quite well for this young star.
I just remember like 10 women standing around him as he told stories and thinking, well, it's not always going to be like this.
We've got our poo sticks at the ready, and we shall go to Pooh's Bridge, where we drop a stick of poo in the stream.
No. We drop a stick, not a stick of poo.
Pooh's sticks.
I promise we'll keep it clean as we head to the actual 100-acre wood and attempt to recreate the famous game of Pooh Sticks with a little A.A. Milne tutorial. Any child is inspired by a visit to the zoo. The real-life Christopher Robin may have loved his stuffed bear, but he also fell in love with an American black bear he saw at the London Zoo. The bear was named Winnie, short for Winnipeg, the hometown of the man who raised the bear as a cub and later brought the bear to the zoo.
I'm going to call my bear Winnie.
You should call him Pooh. So if he ignores you, you can pretend you were just saying Pooh.
Pooh!
It was first published on this day back in 1926. Winnie the Pooh remains a staple for children all over the world decades later. But the story behind the kids' book is one of heartache, as the real Christopher Robin struggled with the book's success, as well as a strained relationship with his parents. Did you read Winnie the Pooh growing up?
No, that was not one of my books growing up, no. I had Irish language books up until I was about 4, and then after that I was kind of into school. So reading my first time reading the books properly was in preparation for this.
I read them growing up, but it did change my opinion of them, knowing the story behind them, because something that brings so much joy to so many, I didn't realize brought a lot of pain.
It did. It brought most pain to the person who was intended to give the most joy to. I mean, it's one of those things. I think the books are still as wondrous and beautiful and can give you everything that they always have. It's just part of the journey was difficult. Yeah, it's interesting.
Mummy says you're writing a book to stop people going to war. I think your book is a jolly good idea.
You're the only one that does.
I'd really like if you wrote a book for me. I'd definitely read it.
To play Christopher Robin, the director found newcomer Will Tilston. I almost feel like I would have hired him for his dimples alone.
Well, yes, they're spectacular, but actually we needed a really good actor to play Christopher Robin, and luckily we found a really good actor.
My name is Will.
Finding that good actor took some time.
I think the auditioning process was longer than the actual filming, wasn't it?
That's possibly true.
I don't think I do like porridge after all.
Filmmakers auditioned hundreds of young boys, and Will just tried to play it cool.
I had to sort of keep it sort of like on the low basis, because if I got too cocky, I would have thought that if I didn't get it, I'd be really sad. So I sort of kept it so if I didn't get it, I wouldn't be as upset.
I just remember like 10 women standing around him as he told stories and thinking, well, it's not always going to be like this.
He talked about how funny you are, and I know when you have to, you're joking around off camera, and then you have to be stern with him. When you're dealing with somebody his age, do you approach it any differently than you would somebody who's older?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, because it was his first job as well. I was very wary of getting too close to him too early in the process, because he's so likable and he's so lovely and he's such a good person, you want to be around him. And we did have to have these moments where it's awkward between us. We don't connect for most of the film. Right. And so, yeah, we had to set up those rules early on and say, look, we're not going to be friends today, and that has to be okay, but we will at the end.
Do you have room for one very small piglet?
Yes.
Margot Robbie signed on to play Mrs. Milne in part because it reminded her of her own mother, who used to voice characters when she was young. And there were a few other comparisons.
More pragmatic rather than maybe more nurturing side. I feel like a lot of women in my family are very like, get on with it, stop crying, that sort of thing. So I kind of understood where she was coming from sometimes.
You must be Nanny. As in Vespers, the nanny with the blue dressing gown, the one that God blesses.
I've read memoirs of other people that had nannies growing up, and they, it's that relationship that in those years, the bond is so strong that the relationship goes on forever. Like, these nannies have retired, and yet they still have these children that they looked after coming to visit them.
Yeah, he's still eating, believe it or not. Through that whole entire Goodbye Christopher Robin package, this guy is still going. It's very common back in the day to have a nanny look after your child, even if you only had one. So I asked the actresses, besides your mom, who was a woman that inspired you the most?
I actually had like a couple of babysitters, two in particular, that I was super close with because I spent so much time with them. And I always thought they were grown-ups, but actually they were just like straight out of high school,
right.
like, you know, whoever mum could get to babysit us. But we'd spend so much time with them. Yeah, seeing them was like the most exciting part of my day.
I would imagine they're now like, yeah, I babysat Margot Robbie
Yeah,
back in the day.
yeah.
So I'm sure you did. Sure you did.
Do you know, someone actually said that to me. I was in Glasgow. This was years ago, and someone said, "Oh, I used to babysit you." And I just didn't recognise them.
You didn't remember them?
No, they didn't. They were, and I said, "What age are you?" And they were about 5 years younger. And I was like, "This is clearly just, I don't know why you've made this up."
I guess we're done eating, which is perfect timing because Goodbye Christopher Robin is in theaters this weekend. We actually attempted to be kids again by going into the real 100-acre wood all the way across the pond and recreating the well-known game of poo sticks. A.A. Milne and Winnie the Pooh expert Anne Thwaite was there to give us a tutorial. Now, she has seen the film and already has a favorite part.
The snow scene, and of course because it picks up the scene where Piglet and Pooh are walking in their own footsteps in the snow in the book. I love the parts of the film that echo things in the Pooh books.
Walk into the forest and you'll see these homes constructed by Pooh fans for one of Pooh's famous friends.
It's an Eeyore house, so visitors come to the forest and they kind of create a little teepee just in case Eeyore needs a home.
I'm getting a stick.
Get several.
It's a little harder than it looks.
Go! Of course, we were really there just to recreate the game of Pooh Sticks. A very simple game. You drop the sticks on one side of the bridge and then watch the current bring them to the other. It's also a game featured in the film. I have a feeling, though, that Anne is over playing Pooh Sticks, but she's not over coming to the woods.
Somebody asked me how many times I'd been, and I decided about 40.
I'm nationally known comedian Pablo Francisco, and since this is a movie show, I'm using my movie voice. Real Travels with Tara is brought to you by Harkins Theaters, Dignity Health, Sneaky Pig Studios, and National Bank of Arizona.